here's my biggest issue with this, and there's a lot of layers to peel back, and we'll peel them all back for you. Tony La Russa, and to me this is unfortunately too often emblematic of society. You know, to just so flippantly throw around the word racist is, in the free manner that he did, it's dangerous. Now, listen, Teague, you've been in the locker rooms. You know this. Locker rooms police themselves. I don't know. Is Josh Donaldson a jerk? It seems like a lot of teammates don't like him, former ones. Is he a racist? Don't know. Is he tone deaf? A little bit. But to me, and I know it's about Anderson and Donaldson, but the thing that bothered me most over the weekend was La Russa sticking his fat beak into this, and really, I thought, being a little too cavalier.
I think we got to be really careful about what we say is racist and what is not racist, and throw out these things that stick and become a defining moment on someone else, even if that's not necessarily the case. I think you're right. Josh Donaldson is a jerk, right? He acts that way. He tries to get under your skin. He clearly was trying to do this with Tim Anderson, calling him Jackie, but it's not racist, BT, because if Tim Anderson, and I want you to just think about this, if Tim Anderson had done an interview back in 2019 for Sports Illustrated and said, I'm the next Babe Ruth, as opposed to Jackie Robinson, again, which is somewhat undermining of the legacy of Jackie Robinson in itself, Tim Anderson comparing him to that. But if Tim Anderson had said, I'm the next Babe Ruth, right? Josh Donaldson would be calling him Babe. Yo, what's up, babe? He wouldn't be saying Jackie.
I take away the same impression.
So it's not.
I would even use a black second base, or go with Joe Morgan,
Ozzie
Smith, Joe Morgan.
Right?
Go with somebody like that.
If he had said, I'm exciting and athletic like Ozzie Smith.
Yep.
Josh Donaldson would be calling him, yo, what's up, Ozzie?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with Josh Donaldson. At least is my interpretation of this. Josh Donaldson trying to get under Tim Anderson's skin. And so when we start throwing racist out there simply because it's a white guy talking about a black player, it's dangerous because it's arsonistic, by the way.
Yes, it is.
BT and I have talked about this many times over the years, how sometimes we get inflammatory about things that don't need to be inflamed. And I heard this on the broadcast last night, and they were talking about suspensions and what the Major League Baseball is going to do. And,
Stop.
And I was taken aback because I can't tell you how many times I've heard crazy stuff in locker rooms, underneath piles, whatever it may have been. And yeah, you may get upset about it, but it doesn't cross the line of racist. And so when soon as you throw that racist bend into it, it gets nasty, right? And it gets emotional. And people start getting upset about something that wasn't intended to be that way. That's my biggest takeaway from this, is that let's be careful what we're calling racism. Right? Because I don't think that was the case here.
Oh, I don't think so at all. And listen, La Russa, to me, even if Tony La Russa didn't say that, society would have still weighed in with an arsonistic, to use your word, a feel, a tone. And that's unfortunately inevitable. That's just kind of where a lot of people reach, and they go for that right away. It is visceral. It is emotional. It creates this disconnect that seemingly grows rather than repairs itself. It gets worse and worse. But to me, some other things here, right? When you go in that direction, you really desensitize people to react when you have to. And I remember having this conversation. I know he works for a different network, but about 15 years ago, Stephen A. and I had this conversation. He said, and from his perspective, he said, dude, meaning Stephen, black people, he used the word we. When we reach for something that is not applicable, it really damages the cause, because if it's always out there, white people will stop listening, and they will not be listening when we, again in his voice, need the white person to listen. And here's the other thing about Tim and I always thought that was a very, very logical way, very sensible way of going about these discussions of race, right? Something else about Tim Anderson. Now, if you want a piece of Donaldson, go get him. He was 2 feet away from you. When Grandel, which, by the way, is pretty ballsy, blocks his path to home plate to go hit over the weekend, watch the isolated camera on Tim Anderson. Now, I don't want to see a brawl, but if you're going to talk that much smack and then tell Yankee fans, bleep you after the home run or go F yourselves, you had a chance to take a swing at Donaldson. You had a chance to get right in Donaldson's mug. And you know what you did? You waited for people to get in front, and then you started posing. Then you started woofing. Then you started talking because there was no threat of a fight. I don't know who would win the fight. Maybe Tim Anderson's a third-tip black belt. I don't know.
Yeah, not
but
that
I
even
can't
matters.
stand that.
Yeah, not that even matters, right? It's he waited for he waited for the collective
Correct.
to do the to cause the issue as
Correct.
opposed to being offended by it. Look, was Tim Anderson offended by this? Of course he was. Why? Because he was not being called his name. Tim Anderson is a very good baseball player, and he's not being called his name. He's being undermined by something he said in an article 3 years ago. And should Josh Donaldson be talking about this? Probably not. But you can tell he's one of those guys. Like, he's just one of those needlers that just like pushes on a sore spot over and over and over again until it disrupts you and takes you out of your mind. Now the problem for the Yankees, and this is superficial because this was what happened in the game, it actually empowered them and lifted them, and they swept the doubleheader on Sunday. And so,
by the way, Chapman, we'll get to him later. He's got issues.
He does physically. I think he does. His velocity's down, and now he might be going on the IL. We'll figure this out at some point. But the Tim Anderson had every right to be upset, and Tim Anderson didn't say. Yeah, he said this was racist. He said it was insensitive.
He said it was disrespectful was the exact word that he used.
Disrespectful. And I can understand that.
Yeah, sure. I agree with that. That's
disrespectful
fine.
to Tim Anderson because Tim Anderson's a good baseball player.
He's better than good.
And he
He's
wants
really
to be
good.
called Tim Anderson, right? Don't call me anybody
But
else.
even if he was a scrub.
Exactly.
I mean, your mama names you. That's the name that you should be called.
Exactly. My name is Tim Anderson. Respect me. Call me Tim Anderson.
Hello, my name is Tim Anderson. A little sticker on when you have those boring get-together, those social functions that you really don't want to be at. All right, so Paul O'Neill will join us today, and he'll be great on a multitude of issues. One will be Chapman. One will be the inflamed feelings within the locker room. I know that Boone was out in front of this. I know that he had Donaldson in his office with some of the minority players on the Yankees, which is smart.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be any residue from that. We'll find out. Hopefully not. But until we actually get a sense of if there is or if there is not, I guess it doesn't really matter. The other thing, too, is this. And I understand, I guess, the very loose comparison to Jackie Robinson that he made in the article that Tiki referenced. But, man, oh, man. I mean, you want to talk about, missing it by several planets. Now, I do think, and this is fully from the white perspective right now, I do think that there are some, so I can't even quantify how many, there are some white people who associate money with respect and equality. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
That is inherently wrong. So you will hear some usually uneducated people say, well, about a minority player, well, this guy's making $30 million a year. How can anybody be racist toward him? That's the ridiculous point of view. We all know that, at least if you have two brain cells and you're an open-minded person. But to think about the plight of Jackie, who was literally spat upon and truly held down based on his color, right? Tim Anderson has had no such impediments, thankfully, for Tim Anderson.
No, you're right. And
so it's a ridiculous comparison.
He hasn't had those type of impediments because of guys like Jackie Robinson.
Correct.
And so to make the comparison, and by the way, the comparison was about bringing fun into the game, whatever that means. I mean, anyone can bring fun into the game, black, white, Korean, Japanese, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. Anybody can bring fun into the game. So to make it about a specific race that's doing it makes no sense to me. Now, the comparison was off. I think Tim Anderson needs to admit that too, because it creates I don't know, the parallel doesn't feel right.
No, it's disrespectful unintentionally to Jackie.
That's right.
It marginalizes his plight.
That's right. Now, Josh Donaldson is taking that and using it as a sticking point to Tim Anderson.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because he realizes that it was, I don't know, disrespectful to Jackie Robinson, but he's using it to stick at Tim Anderson.
Yeah,
because
he's trying to needle him.
He's trying to needle him.
Yep.
And that's what, I don't know, adversarial opponents will do to you. Not to be redundant with that, adversarial opponents, but that's what I mean. Like, Josh Donaldson has that role. That's who he is.
I
right?
love him, by the way.
He's a jerk on purpose.
I love the Yankees needed him. Now, I really hope that there's no racist intent. I don't believe that there is, but they needed a red ass like Josh Donaldson on this team. He's far too corporate for far too long.
I don't know Josh Donaldson at all. He said I wasn't intending anything racist, and I don't think he was.
I watched his whole apology after the game and how he contextualized it, and even the next day. Yeah. And he flat out said, I'm sorry if he interpreted it that way, and I would like to meet him and all that other stuff. So, when somebody hijacks what you meant, all you can do is look into a camera and tell us what you meant.
Yeah.
And I believe him.
And by the way, he would like to solve this, at least from what I've read.
Yeah.
He would like to solve this privately.
Yes.
As opposed to having it be incendiary on national television, on ESPN, talking into the dugout, and Tony La Russa making it sound like he called him the N-word.
He's a clown.
It's like,
Tony
come
La
on,
Russa.
Tony, calm down, slow down. I know you're trying to defend your dude, but calm down with that nonsense, Tony.
877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan inside of the Town Fair Tire Studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. As I said, Paul O'Neill at 11:30. Met fans, don't worry. We didn't miss it. What an impressive couple of days, man. So Scherzer gets hurt. Then on Wednesday, Alonso drills a 500-foot bomb basically on a walk-off on Thursday. You get snowed out on Friday, and you go to Colorado and you beat them 2 out of 3. Mets have stones. As I tweeted, the Mets have stones. And the Rangers showed some stones yesterday. Big win. Although, again, they missed the empty netter. I mean, hey, come on, guys. It's open. You might want to stick that in there before you get burned by it. But right now we're talking about what was the big situation from the weekend. And listen, before we get these calls, we'll let you go. We respect you. You respect us. Respect the situation. Exchange ideas. We're not going to hang up on you. If you have something to say and it's laced with intellect, even if it's incredibly passionate, we're going to let you talk. We don't run from this. This is something me and Teak have done for a long time together. We don't love talking about race because that means generally something is wrong, but we are here to do it the right way, and we trust that you will as well. Let's get Kyle first up, West Orange. What's up, Kyle? How you doing today?
What's up, guys? Pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure, Kyle.
Big fan of you two men.
Thank you, man.
Listen, I saw the game, and I kept rewinding it at that part where the catcher got into Donaldson's face. I'm like, what's going on here? Listen, man, I'm mixed race. I didn't think he said anything, in a racist statement. I think he was just messing with him. I mean, you're comparing yourself to Jackie Wilson?
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. Jackie Robinson. I mean, you got to be. I mean, that's really something to. That's a big icon of a sports hero.
Well, Kyle, it's delusional, is what it is.
It is delusional, and I think if he called himself Babe or something, I think he would say, "Yo, what's up, Babe?" Yeah, the same thing too.
Yep.
And I think La Russa was trying to spark his team because
it worked.
I think that was stupid. Because they were losing and getting their behinds kicked by Nestor and everybody else on that team. And number 3, I would love to hear what they used to call Tiki under that when they would pile up on him when he played football. Because I could look.
Hey,
I like to
can
see
you clean it up for us, Steve?
No, I mean, Kyle, you if you've been listening to the show for a little bit, you know who I am. Like I'm smart. I'm a nerd. I'm all that stuff. I throw some explicatives in there, with some.
Hey man, I know. Listen, I've watched you play, drive me crazy, and admired you and your brother. First
Are you a Cowboys fan or something?
Athletes.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
No. I'm an Eagles fan.
Oh my God!
I'm an Eagles fan.
Oh, Kyle, come on, man.
Wait. I was born but I was raised into North Jersey. But my team that I like, I like the Jets. I kind of root for the Jets
right.
now.
I can hold on, Kyle. Don't say it with such a drop of emotion. Well, I like the Jets. Say it with some pride, will you, man?
I do.
Come on.
Oh, of course. Okay, I'm saying it with pride. I like the Jets.
There you go, Kyle.
There you go.
Nice, man.
Better than the Eagles.
Tiki Barber. That's all it was. Tiki was driving everybody crazy. But, man, I thought you were a great ball player, you and your brother Don Day. Your mom did something good.
Don Day? Yeah. Who's Don Day?
I appreciate
Thanks,
you,
Kyle. Good call, buddy. Don Day?
Yeah.
Who the hell's Don Day?
Rondé's name always gets messed up here.
Does it?
Yeah, of course.
By who?
A lot of people that didn't watch Tampa.
Really?
Yes.
Here's the other thing, too. You've heard some former teammates just come out and say Josh is a jerk. Liam Hendricks.
Yep.
I've heard nobody come out and say
I mean,
they
Liam
believe he's a racist.
Liam Hendricks has a little bit of issues himself.
I understand that, but my point is nobody's even inferred
Yes.
that there's a racist, but you're a jerk.
Yes.
You're whatever. Let's differentiate between the two, and I certainly think that's really important. Teddy's up in Yonkers. What's happening, Teddy? How are you today?
What's up, Teddy?
Good morning, guys. I
Oh.
think you're great. Tiki, I just got to ask you this.
Yeah.
Or make this comment. Like, you know me before. I've been a math teacher for 40 years.
Yep.
I'm on the fan all the time. That Sid Rosenberg said this morning, what a jerk. He said that Donaldson guaranteed is going to be suspended today by Manfred. That's outrageous if he is going to be suspended. It was innocuous. It's like saying, Brandon, you brought up, I love Mickey Mantle. And when I played baseball against Kenny Singleton, who was 2 years older than me in Mount Vernon, he struck me out all the time. And they said, and then he would make the comment to me, hey, Mickey, I just struck you out again. So nothing is, it's innocuous.
Yeah, look, Teddy, if Major League Baseball suspends Josh Donaldson, they're taking the easy road out and forgetting that there is an actual conversation that needs to happen behind this. Now, I reached out to CC because CC is the CC Sabathia. He is the special assistant
Liaison to racial.
to the
that was
players.
a new hire, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I asked CC, what's gonna happen here, and he hasn't gotten back to me. But I was listening to the broadcast last night, and then Sid is just echoing what the ESPN broadcasters are saying last night, that Josh Donaldson's going to get suspended for a game, maybe two.
Ludicrous.
And it could be more. They said it could be
geez.
more. But if they do that, it's short-sighted. It's not listening to the content of what Josh Donaldson actually said, and they're reacting to the inflammatory response that some media members and Tony La Russa are casting upon Josh Donaldson.
But isn't that symbolic of society? So many things
100%.
Think about so many repercussions that are handed down. I mean, I can't give you a percentage, but it seems like most of them are a result of kickback,
Yes.
fervor,
Yes.
uproar.
Yes.
Not, you know what I mean? And that's wrong.
That's
fundamentally
there have been a
wrong.
lot of racist things that have happened in sports. This is not in that category.
Absolutely. 877-3 suspend them. Are you crazy? 877-337-6666.